Hello everyone, this is Korosh Erfani and today is Thursday, April 9th, 2026. I'm going to talk about this famous ceasefire, and I am trying to answer to the simple question, why now? So in order to treat this subject, I am going to use my precedent post on Twitter, where I am presenting something like 10 reasons for which there are really a necessity for those who started this war to have a ceasefire. And we are going to see why and how they can get that and what is behind this. So several reasons are to advance in order to understand the foundations of such a desire by the United States and behind it by Israel in order to get a ceasefire. The first one is that what was supposed to be just a short incursion, successful and quick victory, became finally a attrition war. And of course, they cannot handle that, right? It was supposed to be just in a few days, bringing about a lot of good and positive results for the United States, for Tel Aviv, but they got exactly the contrary, and that's why we have been like something 180 degrees completely opposed to what was supposed to be, right? And that's why they had to stop that, and they did it. It looks like at least for a few hours they did it, but I am going to explain what is really the hidden intention behind this. The second is a matter of the war really didn't give any result in terms of military success, right? They couldn't defeat Iran militarily, even though we are talking about two huge military forces, United States Army, Israeli Army, but they could not really get to any tangible results if it's not the total destruction of the infrastructure or the civil basis in Iran, civil society basis, we can say. So, but we are far from a way to consider it as a military success, really. The third one is that the capacity of the Iran to react that, to fight back, was really beyond their imagination, or let's say their calculations, right? They couldn't have any idea about how powerful could be Iran when it comes to, just to create a kind of backlash, militarily speaking. They didn't have any idea about this, so that's why it was completely unexpected to them, and they had to accept the reality of what is going on, and that's why they accepted that. The fourth element was the Strait of Hormuz, right? This was something that Americans even didn't imagine that Iran would be able to do so. First, for logistically speaking, right? And they thought that Iran won't have the military or material capacity of doing so, and we saw that exactly the contrary was true. And on the other hand, the fact that they have not been able to reopen it, right, to somehow make a kind of hindrance for Iran to close completely and to exercise a total domination over this strait. So we know that it was far from their calculations. They had a very light or a slight idea about this, but not that much. And that's why they were completely surprised. The fifth element is even though the nuclear facilities in Iran have been seriously and deeply damaged. But the fact that Iran is still in the possession of the core of the conflict, which is the 450 kilograms of enriched uranium at 60% degree, that part of the issue is still intact, we can say, far from any possibility for the Americans or for Israelis to know exactly where it is and what to do with. It looks like that the famous operation of rescue for the pilot was just a coverage in order to attempt going to Isfahan and see if they can find this uranium over there or not. But they attempted and they failed badly. So that's why there was no any change compared to pre-war period where Iran was effectively having this amount of enriched uranium, and now is exactly the same. They have that. The Iranians have that, and we don't have any change. So the sixth point was they had a lot of malicious, nasty plans for Iran. Right? They wanted to get to territorial disintegration, civil war, riots, regime collapse, regime change, the things like that. And all of them have been completely defeated or failed, right? There was not such a thing. And all the plans have been, in a way or another, neutralized, nullified, and of course, now they have the same regime, even though they are talking a lot about the regime change, new regime, regime 2, regime 3, but it doesn't make sense at all. On the contrary, we have the structure of the regime that is the same, the attitude of the regime is the same, even harder, and nothing structurally has been, let's say, modified, right? And we have the same regime over there. They can call it whatever they want, the Americans, but regime is the same. So another point is that both of them, United States and Israel, started to accumulate very negative and destructive effects of this war. Right, during 40 years, I am talking about not only the military aspect, but also the economic one, social one. For example, the political facet of this issue that is getting extremely complicated, and that's why they couldn't really manage anymore this huge amount of problems and issues that were coming as a snowball, and they had to make a pause, and they have to make a break in order to see what they can do. So the eighth one is the international status of both United States and Israel. And both of them are now seen as the top state, right? As the inferior state. They are considered as unreliable, both of them, and especially for the United States. For Israel, it was done already because of the Palestinians' genocide. But for the United States, now it's a matter of completely decredibilized, and nobody can trust them anymore, even the allies, even the European partners. And now they are losing their international status. And I'm pretty sure that this is just a beginning of this huge damage that have been caused by the mistake that they did by having started this war. The other point is the world economy that has shown a huge fragility because of this war, right? United States got the idea that now the whole economic system is in shambles, right? Shaken, and it's going to collapse. And that's why they had to do something illegal immediately. And in order to do so, they are playing with this card of ceasefire. You are going to see if it's serious or not. But for now, in order to avoid an immediate chaos at a global level, putting at risk the life of, I don't know, maybe millions and millions of people, of course they had to do something. And the last point is about the future of Netanyahu and Trump as political actors, right? Their political future is really called into question. And I think in response to the huge risk that is coming for them, for Trump here, with the possibility of impeachment, losing the midterm elections, and for Netanyahu to be tried effectively, they are trying to see if they can, make a kind of damage control for now or not. Anyway, all of these points and much and many more that I am not going to talk about bring us to a very simple conclusion, which is that now these two countries, Israel and the United States, are realizing that Iran is militarily infallible, right? Infallible or unbeatable. They cannot defeat Iranians militarily speaking. They can destroy, as Trump had promised to wipe out civilization, things like that. But militarily, they cannot really defeat the Iranians. That's the very important point. And that's why that's why they had to do something different now. If they want to get their dominance over the Middle East, they have to do something different. And I think the ceasefire is just an attempt to create necessary time to think about that, to find a solution so that they can renew their dominance over the region. Because otherwise, if they accept that they have been defeated, it means that they are giving the status of a superpower and the main dominant force to Iran, right? And Iran will be able to set in motion a new process of completely controlling the whole Middle East. And this is what is waiting for Israel, and that's why I think Israel is not going to accept in any way an agreement in which Iran will get the upper hand, right? It's impossible to imagine that Israel will concede the idea of Iran becoming superpower of the Middle East, because we know that once Iran gets such an status with a kind of alliance with Turkey, with Pakistan, most probably with Egypt, and why not with Saudi Arabia, they will create a kind of coverage and they will dominate completely the fate of the region in the West Asia, and Israel will be marginalized hugely. Israel that wants to create the greater Israel, don't forget that. So it's completely, we can say, is in and opposed to what Israel wanted. Israel is getting to have a new situation in which it will be just one dominated force in the region and nothing else. So that's why such a horrible image for the Zionists will give us an idea about the seriousness of this ceasefire. The ceasefire is in my opinion, just a preparatory phase of war, right? It's a preparatory ceasefire, which means a ceasefire that gives them more time in order to conceive something different, and then restarting the war, retaking, the momentum of war. But this time, don't forget, I am pretty sure this time that would be much more heavier, much more aggressive, much more violent than the first 40 days, the first phase, right? Iran is aware about that. It knows that they are trying, to reattack and to this time really get rid of the Iranian government and the Iranian existence. Let's be clear. Let's be frank with that, right? The objective of Zionists is just to get rid of the Iranian civilization as it was formulated by their mercenary Trump, right? This is what the Zionism wants, really, to get rid of completely, to do away with Iranian civilization, 10,000 years of history. This is what they want. So that's why we can be waiting for something that would be in the second phase of this war, even more irrational than in the first phase. Which means that instead of thinking about that maybe we made a mistake by attacking Iran, that would be, no, our mistake was not attacking with the full force. So if we do with the full force, we will be, succeeding and defeating Iran. So that's why they are not thinking about that. Maybe we used too much, we abused our power, we abused our firepower, right? No, on the contrary, they are thinking that we didn't use enough our firepower. So that's why in the phase 2, you can be sure that all the infrastructures will be destroyed, and also they will attack directly as they did it for Gaza. They will do it for the civil society. They will kill the ordinary people in mass. Why? Because they don't have any other choice, because they want to show more force. So already, according to themselves at least, already they have destroyed any military viable or essential targets. Okay, it's done. There is nothing wiped out, obliterated, annihilated. All right, it's good. Now, for the second phase, what they are going to do is just this. Everything. Everything is good to be a target. This is what the Gaza doctrine is dictating to through Israel, to the United States, and that's why now there is this possibility for the United States to mobilize 50,000 people, according to the latest news that we had, 50,000 soldiers in order to go really underground and starting to boot on the ground to invade the different parts of Iran and bringing the war into its total war, right? Into the phase of total war. Total war will be the one that will determine the fate of the region, the fate of Israel, the fate of Iran, and the fate of the world. I am pretty sure. There are two possibilities for that. There are only two fates that we can imagine, two futures. First is either they will accept that at the end of the total destruction of Iran, they couldn't do whatever they want, right? What was the objective whatsoever. They couldn't get that. So that would be the total defeat of the United States and Israel, the starting point of the decline of both of them, the collapse of the American empire, and the disappearance of the Zionist project. This is what we are going to have as one possibility. Another one is to go through the most irrational and violent actions with regard to Iran, and get effectively, the fire back not only by Iran for a total war, but also by other actors, including Turkey, Pakistan, North Korea, and we are going to have an international conflict and possible World War III. So these two possibilities are waiting for us. So I don't believe in the authenticity, in the genuineness of the ceasefire that is right now very extremely fragile in its second day. We will see, but in my opinion, if we have a deep knowledge of the phenomenon of Zionism, the phenomenon of Israel, of course, we won't believe in anything durable, anything stable coming from, the Zionist entity. Impossible to imagine such a thing. So that's why they will be organizing the false flag in the United States, create the new, much more violent 9/11, bringing the American society on the brink of collapse. And from that moment, the president will cancel the elections, cancel the World Cup, and get to a real destructive war in the Middle East, which will be an introductory phase for the international conflict and World War III. So this is the perspective, but there are huge chances to have any other scenarios. And the reason is that there is not yet anything fixed, anything that we can take it as guaranteed, right? So that's why we must be waiting for the evolution of the situation. Everything is revolving right now around the possibility of a ceasefire, but I think it's just potential, it's just theoretical. What is happening realistically and practically behind the scene is the preparation for a bigger second phase of this war. We will see. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you can help me to share this video with other people, and we are going to talk about that more. Thank you and bye.